One of President Biden's closest aides has urged Russia not to exploit the energy crisis that's causing gas shortages across Europe. Russia insists much of the problem lies with Europe's decision not to take out long-term contracts, for which it's now paying the price. Mark Lobel reports.
The gas and electricity price surge is alarming consumers across Europe.
I am very worried, very concerned. We struggle enough.
Des mamans avec 2 enfants.
There are mothers today who have to choose between paying for their energy bill or feeding their children. That's the problem. The colder weather is coming fast. We need to heat apartments. If you go to the poorer areas where there is suffering, no one puts on the heating because everyone knows they won't be able to pay for it.
A record demand for gas and limited storage in the EU is fueling politicians' fears for the future. Russia supplies 40% of the EU's natural gas imports. Moscow once feared a falling oil price would undermine its economy. Now it's calling the shots. Watch the price of gas plummet as Vladimir Putin is televised, suggesting a possible increase of gas supply on Wednesday. But he has little sympathy for his European customers.
All of its activities were aimed at curtailing the so-called long-term contracts, focusing on the transition to gas exchange trading. It turns out this policy was wrong. It didn't account for uncertainties.
Russia's main gas producer insists it's blameless.
Since the beginning of the year, we have supplied foreign markets with near record amounts of gas. We increased deliveries to our largest consumer market, Germany, by a third compared to the last year, to Turkey by 2.5 times, to Romania by 4 times. We supplied additional volumes of gas along all routes, including the Ukrainian route, as much as we could.
But Ukraine's gas operator says that Russia has reduced the amount it routes through the country between January and September by 17% compared to the previous year. Russia says the new Nord Stream 2 underwater pipeline would save Europe's sticky situation, but only if Germany and Brussels quickly approve the project to get it flowing. Not everyone thinks Russia is acting reasonably.
We've long been concerned about Russia using energy as a tool of coercion and a political weapon. We've seen it happen before, and we could see it happen again. I think it would be a mistake for Russia to try to exploit this. I think that would ultimately backfire on them, and I believe that they should respond to the market demands for increased energy supplies to Europe.
That comes from more demand as countries emerge from the pandemic, depleted storage tanks after a cold end to the winter, China consuming more gas, and low wind speeds that reduce renewable energy. So right now, Russia remains under pressure to increase supply, driven by a volatile market, which is powering its bargaining position too. Mark Lobel, BBC News.
Well, I spoke with Roman Svedras, a former Lithuanian diplomat and deputy energy minister. I began by asking him whether he thought Russia was taking advantage of the energy crisis.
The bitter experience of my country, Lithuania, shows that Russia is using and abusing its dominant situation in energy supplies. So I am convinced that Russia is using this deliberately in order to push European Union to finalize fast the completion of Nord Stream 2 and project and commissioning of Nord Stream 2 project.
So do you think it is doing what the US is accused it of doing? Is there any way of stopping it, do you think? Any kind of pressure the US and the EU can put on Russia to stop it doing this?
To my mind, what's happening now, it's only the beginning. Now what we've got a pressure from Russia in order to complete Nord Stream 2 project and to launch it. And also it creates an economic crisis in Europe. But later, to my opinion, when Nord Stream 2 will be commissioned and the dependence of European Union will become much more heavier on gas supplies from Russia, Russia will start to influence not only economic agenda, but also a political agenda. A heavy dependency on energy supplies and gas supplies leads to abuse to the situation. Imagine in European Union there is a discussion on introduction or non-introduction of sanctions for Russia, and what would be the situation of Germany. It would be a very tricky situation.
So what's the answer then going forward? What, for example, is the role of the United States in all this?
It seems that the current position of the United States is to let this project Nord Stream 2 to be finished, and this is the situation, and Nord Stream 2 project, to my mind, will be finished. It's only the matter of time. What European Union should do, it should follow the policy, what it declares officially, in fact, to diminish dependency on one single external supplier, and also to follow the green course. It's to diminish its dependency on fossil fuels.